Some punishments were so brutal that even history tried to erase them, but what they did to people was far worse than you think. Throughout history, punishment wasn't just about justice. It was about fear, control, and power. Entire systems were built not to correct people, but to break them. And some of the methods they used were so brutal, they were eventually banned forever. When we think about punishment, we imagine justice, a system built to correct behavior, to protect the innocent, to restore balance in society. But if you go back far enough, that's not what punishment was. It wasn't about fairness. It wasn't about rehabilitation. It was about power. In ancient societies, punishment was a performance. It didn't happen in secret. It happened in public, in front of crowds, sometimes thousands of people. People didn't just witness it. They were meant to feel it. The fear, the tension, the message. Because the goal was never just to punish one person. It was to control everyone else. A single act of extreme suffering could silence an entire population. And the more brutal the punishment, the more effective it became. Pain wasn't a consequence. Pain was the strategy. And once fear becomes a tool, it doesn't stay small. It grows, it spreads, and eventually it becomes something much darker. Something no one can fully control. As time went on, punishment didn't disappear. It evolved, not into something more humane, but into something more precise. People began designing tools, not just to punish, but to control suffering, down to the smallest detail. Every second calculated, every reaction expected. Some devices were built to stretch the human body slowly, until the body simply couldn't take it anymore. Others were designed to immobilize, forcing a person to stay conscious, fully aware, unable to escape what was happening to them. And that was the worst part. Not the pain itself, but the anticipation of it, the waiting, the knowing that it wasn't going to stop. These weren't random acts of cruelty. They were systems, refined over time, improved, tested, repeated. Pain became predictable, almost mechanical. And once something becomes a system, it stops feeling like a choice. It starts feeling normal. And that's when it becomes truly dangerous. But even the most powerful systems, built on fear, eventually begin to crack. Not all at once, not in a single moment, but slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. At first, nothing seems different. The punishments continue. The crowds still gather. The system keeps working, exactly as it was designed to. But something changes inside the people watching. A reaction they weren't supposed to have. Discomfort, not fear, not obedience, but unease. And that's where it begins. Because when people stop feeling fear and start feeling discomfort, control begins to weaken. The same punishment that once kept people silent now starts to raise questions, not out loud, but internally. Is this necessary? Is this justice or something else? And then the line is crossed. The moment when punishment becomes more disturbing than the crime itself. When the spectacle stops feeling like order and starts feeling like chaos. That's when the system loses its foundation. Because fear can control behavior, but it cannot survive without belief. And once people stop believing, everything begins to collapse. Crowds that once watched in silence begin to react. Not always with rebellion, but with awareness. A shift in perception. And that shift is impossible to reverse. Because once a person sees cruelty for what it is, they can never unsee it. And that's the moment when the system that once controlled everything starts losing control of itself. Eventually, the pressure becomes too great. The questions, the discomfort, the growing awareness, it all reaches a point where it can no longer be ignored. And that's when change begins. Slowly at first, laws start to shift, rules are rewritten, practices that once seemed normal begin to feel unacceptable, and one by one, these punishments are removed, banned, erased from public view, hidden away, as if they never existed. But banning something doesn't erase what it reveals. Because these methods didn't come from nowhere. They were imagined, designed, approved by people, ordinary people, people who followed orders, people who believed they were doing what was right. And that's what makes it unsettling. Not just the cruelty itself, but how easily it was justified, how quickly it became normal, how long it lasted before anyone questioned it. Because the same forces still exist today. The need to control, the desire to dominate, the fear of losing power. They haven't disappeared. They've adapted. They've changed form, become less visible, but not less real. And that's where it gets uncomfortable. Because if the past has shown us anything, it's that humans don't eliminate these instincts. They redirect them. So maybe the real question isn't why these punishments were banned. Maybe the real question is where those same impulses exist today, and whether we're even aware of them, or if history is quietly repeating itself in ways we don't recognize yet. These punishments are gone today, but they reveal something darker about human nature, the need to control, the desire to dominate, and the fear that drives it all. The question is, have we really changed, or have we just found new ways